and we spoke about Amorim in weeks gone by, talking about how bad Manchester, this is the worst Manchester United team ever, and just being, I don't understand that tactic. I don't understand that tactic of being as negative as he has been about it, whether it's true or not. I don't understand the tactic. Then coming into this one, understanding where Everton are, or more to the point, were, what you've been given and tasked with to come in now and then say that before the game. The other thing to this, and this is where I give a lot of the Manchester United players some credit in the second half, I have not seen a man look as beaten, a manager look as beaten coming out for a second half as Amorim looked, retaking his seat on the sideline at Old Trafford. Now, you're 2-0 down. I expect you going and you've read the riot act, and maybe he has. But you now have to be up for the fight. You have to show your players that you're up for the fight. He comes and takes a seat on the sideline, and I cannot tell you when last I've seen a manager look as beaten. So I give Manchester United players credit in the second half for their response, because his body language suggested to me that it wasn't coming. And maybe, as Craig pointed out, maybe Jordan Pickford had a little bit to do with that. You kindly disagree on who is at fault or who takes the credit. But give Manchester United some credit for a second half display that I don't think the manager had an awful lot to do with.
Ruben Amorim looks to me like a man that would take a payoff and a one-way ticket back to Portugal and just move on with his career, because he's he's found himself in a mire with this club, with this squad of players, and he's, as I said, he's not without blame because he's setting the tactics. But let's not forget about the bigger picture here. As they sit in 15th, Manchester United in 15th, no team in the Premier League they're safe against, none. Is the Glazers, who still own the club, have riddled that club with debt and taken money out of it for fun, right? For years, and that's been evident. But they've pulled off an even better stroke in the last 18 months or so. They've had Ineos's pants down with what they've done. Ineos have gone in there, they have no idea what they're doing, and they've spent, their investment, I believe, was around 1.25 billion initially. And they've gone in there, the morale is horrendously low, they're firing low-level employees, they're all over the shop, it's terrible. Before you even get to the footballing side of it, it is terrible. So between the Glazers and Ineos, there is not a clear directive of how this club, if you saw the accounts this week, was just one thing. They are in a position that I don't think anybody would have thought of quite a few years ago. So there's two parties to blame here. The Glazers are well to blame, and I think Ineos, they had no idea how damaging things were behind the scenes before they chucked all that money in.
Okay, so
apart
from
that, it's all right.
Apart from that, I mean, how can Man United sit in the 15th and only be looking because there's four really poor teams below them, at least, you know, and Wolves have just won against Bournemouth. Only for that reason are they probably safe from being in a relegation dogfight. I mean, that's a hell of a position to be in.
Okay, you get the final thought on this clash, Don.
I mean, Craig's absolutely nailed it from the hierarchy and from the top end of the club. I mean, you could do a whole show on it, and we probably will or have. I think now, if you're Ruben Amorim, you've got to find somehow winning the Europa League and trying to get Champions League football, because apart from that, it's going to be an absolute